There are so many product management tools such as Notion, Jira, Asana, and many others. Why Linear becomes the most popular one, especially for engineers and startup tech companies. So today I want to do a personal product tear down practice, but also by walking through the experience, I think it will be also valuable for you to check what I think about those features, and especially about the hypothesis that we think they might consider and why they're doing some features like that. Okay, so let's have a look and start this product walkthrough. So now I'm checking the website of Linear, the product development system for teams and agents. So yeah, this is actually a really interesting one. So it shows that the product development system, it's not just a product, it's a system. You can see the standard or like the position they want to capture. And also for teams, that's for human teams. And for agents, that's interesting. You can see the strategy. Consider your team is not only humans, but also include AIs, include AI agents. And then I can scroll to see their general interface. So quite clear. I can see their UI with a very standard feeling. But yeah, I will check the UI in details later. And then by scrolling down, I can see some testimonials, but also I can see some key features it provided. But yeah, I would just start checking it because just by using it, you will have your first-hand experience. So I will start by continue with my email. Now I'm in. It seems that just my email account and address has been taken. Right, now I'm actually on the first screen. So it shows the value prop. Linear is a purpose-built system for developing products, streamline issues, projects, and product roadmaps. Okay, so this one sentence introduced the value proposition for this app. I'll just tap to get started and choose my style. I will choose light, because now I'm doing it at AM time. Oh, that's interesting. Actually, on the third step of onboarding, it asked me try a command, a keyboard shortcut. This is really interesting because you can see the team just opt from the keyboard interactions to the very early stage for onboarding. Right, I'll just tap it, and it shows a command, like a command line that I can do here. Maybe I can just I can create things. Let me see, edit. Now ask. I can start with some verbs. Okay, I'll just do that later. And next step, remember. Okay, that's more like a wrap up for the previous step. And the next stage, the fourth step, is install GitHub integration. Now I see it's really focused on the engineers as their major market, right? The third step is about keyboard. The fourth step is about GitHub. So those are the things. If you're not an engineer, you don't need to do that. You don't need those things. But yeah, it's really seems they already know who their customer is, and I will just do it later. Invite coworkers. Oh, that's for invite your team. I will also do that later. And subscribe for updates. Subscribe to updates. But yeah, it's also can see. And you will feel that it's more than 7 steps, because some steps actually include some interactions. But you don't feel that, and it's still counted to 7. You're good to go. Go ahead and explore the app. When you're ready, create the first issue. Okay, so open Linear. And by the way, 7 is the maximum number for a series of steps. And we all know that the magic number is 3, right? And 5 plus or minus 2 is the sweet spot. Any actions or any information snippets that you want to your user to consume, to understand, because it's more than 7, people will normally they can't remember it all at once. So this is definitely has been designed really clever. I will just have to open Linear, And I like this zoom in feeling. It feels like be introduced to some very important scenario, or like be introduced to some very important guests or scenes. Okay, so let's have a look. This is the first screen, and if you're doing products, it's always that you want to introduce the very important, or maybe the one thing that differentiates your product to others, or the most valuable information to your customer. And now I see what Linear's team introduced at first is issues. So, and here I got a glance issues here. So now I pretty much can guess or like assume that issue is a very important concept in linear, and we can talk about entity. So there are multiple entities. Now I see projects, views. What I mean entity is something that the information unit within an app, within a product, composed the whole universe of this product. So it's part of the ontology terminology. But yeah, it's quite boring. But for now, let's see just some verb or some nouns are the entities of this app. And now I can see issues, projects, views, inbox, and that's it. It's really simple. So the first time when I see this started, because I already work on in some product team, there's like seamless connection to other tools. I can immediately understand or like assume that okay, projects is something that I can group some complex tasks or things. Same here. Yeah, it's a larger unit. And views could be something I can filter the current available tool or like available tasks or projects. I can see. Yeah, it's pretty much similar as filter or layout or views in other tools like Notion. But I will get back to issues. Where am I? Where was I before? I think I was here on issues. Those are the placeholder issues, and there are it seems that there are status is to do. I think it could be a status. I don't know. I can't click it, and I can definitely click task or issue to see the details. Let's do that. Right, I'll tap the first one. Get familiar with Linear. Welcome to Linear, and the video I can watch, and yeah, 4 minutes. And also there are some setup guide below so that I can check what are the teams that it fit me. And oh, I can see I can add sub issues. So which means that one issue can contain another issue. It's quite similar as Notion's block, right? Assume they are the same concept or similar concepts, not the same, similar. And now I can see there are some panels on the right, and it shows properties, and there are to do, set property, priority, and assign. Right. And I saw label below, and I saw projects. All right, you know what I see? There's something very interesting I noticed, because do you remember at the beginning when I checked the app's onboarding steps, I mentioned 5 minus plus 2 is the golden rule, is the gold rule for information. And have you noticed how many what's the amount of one sections for on the UI for linear, that 1, 2, 3? How many of them? If you follow my mouse, you can see. If now I'm just get back to issues, and as an interface, and then you can see on the top there's only 2 items, and below this is as a collapsed expandable menu, and it includes 3 options. So 1, 2, and a more. This is interesting because I can see, if I take a glance at first, there are only 3 items on under workplace. And if I check teams, so here are my teams as a menu, and definitely I can create more teams. That's easy. It seems understandable. But also on my where am I? I'm in some settings, I think. I'll just get back. And I can see on my personal team there air. So there are 3 items here: issues, projects, and views. And below, try. What do you notice? How many of them? This is definitely has been designed on purpose. So it seems that they want to manage the information units no larger than 3 so that you can easily have a glance. Why I have this hypothesis? Why I have this assumption? It's just because on workplace, it's actually includes at least 4 units. So we have projects, we have views, we have teams, we have members. They just combine teams and members into one unit, into more unit, and it's something you can tap to dig a little bit further. This is really interesting. So, and I think this is a very interesting product decision or design decision because this has been there are some intention to manage to minimize the information piece so that first-time users like me will be easier to understand and start to use the app. And that will make me closer to the aha moment. Very clever. And if you notice, 3 is everywhere. Here are 3 things like all issues, active, and backlog. So there are only 3 of this of these sections, 3 items included in these sections. And on the top right, filter, I don't know what this is, show display, okay, and open details. So it's on also follow this number 3 row. I think if I can talk to a designer at Linear, I will ask, have they designed this on purpose? Definitely the answer more likely would be yes. And now I'm checking the other part is the what are those things? What are those items? I noticed something interesting as well. So if you follow my mouse and hover my mouse, have you noticed that? If I hover my mouse to any item, and there will be a hover effect, right? So like this, I can hover it and see which are activated or which are the things I'm interested. And also I can see what it means. So there's a simple explanation like, oh, project, go to project. It shows the keyboard shortcut for every item on the screen. This is really interesting. And I also see some really interesting shortcut. It's not for non-digital product or like tech startup teams or tech teams. For example, here, project, I can press G and P. So this is like the 2 combinations, G and P. And let's see, views, G and U, and go to views. And on the create is C. What I'm thinking, I know that Linear is a very popular tool within engineers, within like tech companies, especially product teams. The primary user group of this tool is engineers. What engineers like? This. They love keyboard, right? They love to tap keyboard and want to speed up their workflow by just using keyboard shortcut for everything. And this is a very fit into their day-to-day workflow or their working experience. I don't know for designer, yes, we use keyboards a lot, but not as crazy as engineers. Product managers also use that. You can see this is more like something very unique for engineers, and you can see the match of the product design, the product experience to the market, to the users. Yeah, this is very clever. And the third thing, or let's just talk about the third things on my first time experience I noticed is from the UI part. I noticed that on Linear, everything is on the every items or the key entities for this app, they're all on the all the core features, they're all on the left as a panel or as a control panel. And the right part is a card. So this card represents that if I go to different things, if I go to projects, it's like a folder on a physical desktop, right? So I'm currently on the project folder, and I can create project, blah blah blah, name it. And I can also create issues. I don't know, my issues should be in my issues. And it all in this rectangle. It's like a folder for everything. And on the left is all the tools, all the features that you can use. So this is the UI is different from other tools. So if we consider Jira or Notion, it's more like when I open one page, seems like a full page, and the left is only the shortcut, only the link to go to each page. But here we can see the left is actually on layer 1. So if you consider layer 1 is your desktop, and this is the desktop bottom of it. Other projects, views, and issues is more like the folder above it. That's interesting. Why I noticed this is also on my first try, I also noticed if I tap ask linear, and I can have this dialog box, like a dialog box that I can interact with AI. So it's very common. And if I zoom it, maximize it, seems as another folder on top of it. Yeah, you now see that this is very clever. So it's also helpful for engineers that I basically can just work on this part, and the left part is always available, always provide some items or some features they can check. Right. So this is my first time walkthrough, and I will do some proper research and share some thoughts later. All right, welcome back. I know it's just a blink, but actually I done some homework in this 1 second. So I did some quick comparative research on linear, and also find some really interesting findings. But yeah, I'll share it now. So first is this structure of all the entities within linear: project, issue, views, member, teams, workspace, and there are more. So this is like the core entities that I mapped out. And also this one is really interesting. So issue can create sub-issues. So issue can include other issues. And project and view are just two ways to filter the task or the unit to display. Right. And also you always need to assign it to members. And there's one thing has been missing, is the cycle. So this one, I haven't seen it during my onboarding experience, but then I noticed that lots of blogs, lots of research, or like the articles about linear mention cycle is a very important feature, and I thought, where is it? I didn't see it, right? And then I figured it out. If I go to settings, and the default is to close the cycle. Sorry, where is it? I will need to find out. Oh no, where is it? So it's not as a default open for people. So which means that you will need to manually set it up for your for your use case. I can't find it. I just can't find it. Maybe it's not here. Maybe it's somewhere. Anyway, let's just get back. So this part is just because I did some research, and I find many articles mention this, and also I find it you need to enable it for your setting in your settings, and it will be a very powerful way. So if you're familiar with agile framework, it's just quite similar to sprint. So it can recur some tasks in 1 week, 1 month, or a fortnight. So it depends on your team's cadence. But this one is also quite important. Also, I did some comparator comparison. So this is Jira, the notorious Jira, with so many complicated features. And you can see it's actually with top menu. So this is as a layer 1. So it's like fixed. And besides it is similar. We have the control panel on the left, and the primary content on the right. How to say that? There's no depth of this interface. So you only have part 1, part 2, part 3. Linear, you can see this is how they show the layer 1 of the UI is the gray area, and the layer 2 above it is this. So this is totally different from Jira. And I think the beauty of this is that you can always focus on your task in just one place, and also keep other features available, and also easy to understand the structure, the logic of those files. And in Notion, it's actually more complicated than this, because Notion is not just a product management tool. It's a content management tool. It's a CRM tool, so which makes their interface. So you can't set it as a default, right? So that's Notion, and this is the Notion's view when you do product management. So basically, they all have this menu on the top. So it's quite similar on those tools. And on Asana, Jira, pretty much. And Asana follow another way to a quite similar way as Linear to have this part and the middle part and the panel on the right. There's no depth for managing the folders and basic features. All right, so that's the interface. And also I did some research on the performance. So this is something that's about the round size. So they have a few rounds for funding, but this is not something I'm interested. I'm interested in this. So Linear has a responsive time smaller than 15 milliseconds. So it's really fast, 3 times faster than Jira and 2 times faster than Asana. So we know engineers, they love faster solution, right? So this is also another example to show how to fit it to your market. And another findings that I got is the product position of Linear. Linear is something really fast and can do proper settings. So it's fit for complex workflows, customization, and also it's quite fast. So we can see other products. So for we have the complexity, simple, complex on the X, left and right, and on the Y axis, fast and slow, and something is really fast, like Trello, really fast. GitHub issues, really fast, but they're quite light. They're not flexible enough for managing complex projects. For corporational tools, Monday, Asana, ClickUp, Jira, they're really complicated and they're really slow. And Linear is in the unique position, able to customizable. This is where they are. And we also find this one, sorry, it's in Chinese. I will just read it out. So this is the funnel for Linear's product journey, like the user journey. So at first, engineer find it, and engineer will use it on their free account, so individual or personal free account, and then engineer will introduce it into their teams, so the team can start to use it. They can all use it for free, or they can start with the $10 tier. So the basic one. And then if the team start to use it, you know that if you start to use it as a team for a while, it's really hard to change or to re-platform another tool. And it will become an embedded tool for your workflow. So yeah, the team depends on it. And then you might spread it to other teams. For example, if the mobile team in your company use this tool, and slowly they will introduce, this team will introduce to other teams, like introduce to IT teams, financial teams, or other teams, and spread the word. And after that, it might becomes the company standard. So yeah, and then the company might start to use the business membership, the business tier, so which is $16 per month for 1 credit, for 1 seat. And then maybe the company will sign the enterprise contract, and yeah, that will be become a big customer. And you can see that 65% customers start by self-serving. And start to use it for free and become the paid customer. So really interesting. Right, so this is what I found for Linear. just a quick wrap up. Before I started using Linear, I already got familiar with Notion like this, or like Asana. I've used that. Jira, of course, I hate it, but I have some experience on using it with my previous team. And Trello, yeah, that's the classic one. But Linear, my first impression, really simple. And I haven't had the time to review the contents on this. For example, they all use simple words, like one simple verb, one simple word on each icon. But today I just reviewed the onboarding experience. So we know that there are multiple core use case, and onboarding just the first part. So I noticed that the principle of three, they only use three items for each section, or each unit, minimize the cognitive load for new users. But the product is really customizable. So you can see, wow, lots of things to set up. And we noticed this desktop analogy, that they use this desktop as the first layer and other things as a folder. So this is scalable for future if they introduce some new features. Yeah, I hope you like it. And one thing that I think I haven't checked more is that from their landing page, one thing I noticed that their value proposition is the product for teams and agent. I haven't seen that. I haven't seen how it works with agent. So yeah, there might be some customization or something that I need to do in advanced mode, but on my first glance, I haven't seen it. And also one thing that I noticed that regards to this is the AI interactions in this tool still quite basic. So now it's just as you see as the dialogue, as a floating dialogue, like chat box that I can just ask Linear. And yeah, it's follow ChatGPT, Claude, the basic one. I would like to see the embedded version, or like a more like an enhanced version of this AI interaction or integration. Hope you like it. And it's also like this would be really valuable for me. I will check that later and to see if those principles that this app follow, or like this app provide, also valuable for other products or other teams. I will see you in another video, and let me know what you think about this one.